Welcome to episode 20 of Satellite 664. I'm one of
the big 2-0.
The big 2-0. Yes, I'm one of your two co-hosts, Cass again, and as always, I'm joined by a gentleman who's sitting, it appears, inside of an Egyptian temple, which happens to be in Romford, Essex. Mr. Steve Luton.
It's cold. I mean, this is the end of August, and it's cold.
How can it be cold?
My hands are freezing.
How can it be cold? You got sunshine there. You got blue skies and sunshine in that outside that temple.
Yeah, but it's cold. Yeah, that's why they used like pyramids to store food, because it was cold.
That's a history factoid of the day, eh? Very interesting, if you like. And joining us today is our dear friend who's been on the show a few times now, from the beautiful city of Copenhagen, Denmark, Mr. Rasmus Stansborg. How are you, my friend?
Thanks for having me. It's always fun to be here.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Welcome,
thank
Raz.
you.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of fun. Every time you're on, Raz, we just have a ball. So in the last episode, we spoke a little bit about the Power Slave album, and there were some bombshells dropped off there from Mr. Newhouse, and we discussed the tour. We sort of went into some minutiae. We told the story of the tour through the tour shirts and some of the merchandise that was sold on the tour. Today, we're actually going to talk about the other collectibles from that 1984-85 era, and this shows for the collectors and for those who, I guess, are interested in becoming collectors and others who just admire the merch. So we're going to talk about several different things. I mean, it's sort of endless, isn't it, when it comes to collecting? So Raz, I think let's start with the music. I mean, at the end of the day, for all of us collectors, and in all our sort of Iron Maiden rooms or man caves, when it comes to when we sort of boil it down, the most important collectible is the music. It's whether it's vinyl, whether it's cassette and whatnot. So I'd actually like to talk a little bit about the Power Slave vinyl that came out at that time. So do you want to kick us off?
Well, yeah, sure. Well, we are lucky when it comes to Iron Maiden, because we have the awesome artwork on all the sleeves, even if it's the maxi singles or the 7-inch or the 12-inch or the vinyl itself from the LP. So even back then, people started collecting the vinyl pretty hardcore. They wanted to buy, of course, the vinyl from their home country, UK or US. Then the Japanese editions became something the collectors really wanted to get hold of, because they had this OB strip on the side that made the album cover a little bit different. So that was a fun thing to start collecting. And then you started to see in South America, they started to produce vinyl from the different countries in South America, and in very low numbers. So those became some pretty cool stuff to try to collect. But mostly, I would say, all the kids didn't have money to buy the really expensive stuff, and it was hard to get because we didn't have eBay back then. So it was all by contacts with your local record store, or if you had an uncle in a different country, maybe you got lucky to get something that way. But when you went to record fairs, it was really the Japanese edition or the promo stuff from the US, like the Virgin promo that came out with the gold frame around the sleeve. So it was something like that people went for at first. So
yeah, I must say the Japanese vinyl I found is always really interesting, because, as you say, the obi makes it very unique. The obi makes it very collectible. But also the Japanese presses or the Japanese releases also had a poster inside them. So every Japanese release has come with a large poster, and I guess what makes that poster even more unique is that it's out of date with, or the photo of the poster is actually out of date with the release. So the Power Slave Japanese first press release actually had a poster with a Peace of Mind stage, didn't it? Or the World Peace Tour stage.
Yeah, that's the cool part again with the Japanese edition. Also, Toshiba, who is the Japanese recording studio over there, they if you listen to the vinyl, a lot of times they have a better sound. It sounds crazy, but they have a better sound than if you bought them in the UK or from Holland or Germany. So sometimes you get a cool sticker. And there actually was this crazy rumor back in '84 that in Australia there was a promo pressing of Power Slave, where you get a little sandbag who was attached to the vinyl record with the inscription Power Slave or Sense of Times or something like that. And I hunted that record for years until I found out it was a hoax. But, but
really?
it sounded really cool. But,
really?
I've never seen it. I only heard the rumor about it. So.
I've never ever heard of that. I've never heard of that. But
the first time I heard the rumor was actually from Michael Denner, who plays in Merciful Fate and for King Diamond. He was my go-to guy to get the records back in the days when I was a kid. He had a small record shop in Copenhagen.
Oh, wow.
He always told, you have to get this and this and this. So,
yeah, look, the other thing that makes the Japanese vinyl very collectible is, and I'm sure you've noticed this, Raz, they almost always, 99% of the time, what you get is mint. Absolutely faultless, as if it was made yesterday. Because I think it's a cultural issue. The Japanese really tend to look after their stuff. Whereas we sort of tend to sort of throw stuff around, and over a 35 year period, it actually looks like it's 35 years old. Whereas, again, maybe it's something part of Japanese culture. They really look after their stuff. So when you do get a hold of a Japanese poster or a Japanese vinyl, it's almost untouched. And I just love... Have you noticed that?
Yeah, but it's generally with the Japanese people. You go to a gig in Japan, and after the gig, like 5 minutes after you have left the venue, there's nothing on the floor.
Wow.
There's no beer marks or papers or anything. They are just... they are better people. If you see a Japanese band with a hole in their Maiden t-shirts, it's probably custom made.
Oh, that's true. I mean, I've never been lucky enough to go to a gig in Japan, but yeah, I've certainly, what you just said, I've certainly heard from a number of people. Also, too, we should also mention some of the Power Slave vinyl, the actual sleeve, it came with a different texture. So I know the Australian pressing had almost like a marble sort of, it wasn't so much embossed, but it was like a marble texture over it. Whereas
on the cover,
on the cover, it actually
it was the same in the UK.
Same in the UK. Whereas I mean, some of the other pressings that I've got are just pretty much quite flat.
I would say that the Dutch and the Germans and the French, they have the plain cover, but there are some of them who have this, as you say, different texture. It's like a better material they used.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a shinier material, and it's a very much a textured material. It almost looks like fine grains of sand. It's really hard to explain to somebody who hasn't seen it, held it, and sort of rubbed their hand over it. And I think it went well with the artwork. You know, you couldn't really do that with Somewhere in Time. You couldn't really do that with Seventh Son or No Prayer for the Dying. But the colors, the you know, I guess the ambience of the Power Slave cover being, I suppose, in a desert landscape, it just fits so well. So I thought that was a great thing by EMI to actually do that. Raz, can you tell us a little bit some of the cassette releases? I know there are people who collect the cassettes as well.
Yep, let me just take a look. I think I have a cassette tape here somewhere. That's not it. Here we go. Again, it was back in the 80s. You didn't have that many different types of things you could collect. You could collect the vinyls, of course, and the singles, but there was also the cassette tapes. And again, some countries have used it more than others. Like in the US, it was a big thing with cassette tapes in the 80s. In Denmark, it was not that much. It died out. But still, this day, you can get, if you go to Prague or Turkey, you can still buy Iron Maiden cassette tapes from the new releases. That's quite a fun thing.
Wow.
And I actually had this from Turkey. And it's fun because it has tons of different front cover.
Wow.
And you can still buy them pretty cheap on eBay. But it's a fun, different thing if you like to collect and you just don't want another of the same cover artwork on your cassettes. Then go for the Turkish ones. They're quite fun.
Is that an original '84 pressing, or is that a modern press?
No, it's the only thing that it has the original cover inside, but it doesn't mention which year. It's just an '84. So
because some of those the pressing plants in Turkey used to press unofficial. They were unofficial pressings. Is that an EMI or is that an unofficial?
Oh, it's a Turkish company.
Yeah.
And that's the hard thing with a lot of countries.
Yeah.
It's official, and maybe in their country they call that official, but if you ask what's Smallwood, and he don't get any money out of it, it's unofficial.
No. No, my understanding is, and I've actually spoken to vinyl collectors from other bands. I had a discussion with, in particular, a bunch of guys from who collect Kiss vinyl, and in the Kiss collecting or vinyl collecting circles, the Turkish presses were always not so much bootleg, but they were unofficial. Well, I suppose you could call it bootleg. So I guess EMI tolerated it, and they didn't shut those plants down, but they weren't official. So I would imagine that would be the same with that one as well.
It's like we see a lot from Thailand, and they have the EMI sticker on it, but it's not EMI.
It's not EMI, exactly. And also, just continue on with the music, some really cool picture discs came out in '84 as well, didn't they? '84 and '85.
Yeah, of course, we got the Power Slave picture disc.
Yeah.
They also made the Aces High and stuff like that, but especially the Power Slave one, everybody needed to get that vinyl, of course. You had the whole album, you have it on a cool picture disc, but it's fun today. I've seen so many bootlegs made of actually that one. So people have to be a little bit on the alert side when they go on eBay or on the web to buy a pressing of the boot or the picture disc, because there's a lot of bootlegs out there.
Yeah, excellent point, and I'm really glad you've raised it. So can we give some pointers to collectors as to how they can distinguish a bootleg from a genuine item?
Well, it's always good to ask some of the older collectors what are the markings on the vinyl itself. I see a lot of test pressing vinyls and what do they call them, promo vinyls. They call them all kinds of stuff, but it's funny because back in the mid 80s there was none of that out.
No.
And suddenly in the end of the 90s there's hundreds of them. Don't pressed like 100 test pressing of a disc. So people just have to be looking out for. It should just. What do you say? They have this book. Just a minute. This is actually one of the best things to get if you are a collector. This book.
Yes.
Oh, no, companion. Okay.
It has all the information you need when you start off as a vinyl collector.
Wow.
It tells you of hundreds of records to collect when
Wow.
paying, and what to look for when you collect them.
Yeah.
Also, T-shirts, books, paper magazines. There's tons of stuff. Sadly, they could not do a second edition with all the new stuff. So this only go up to, let's say, we have, to around 2000, from 80 to 2000. It has all the stuff. Of course, there's a lot of stuff from that era that they didn't get in the book, but they have a lot of stuff in this book.
So where's that book available from?
Where's it's from?
Yeah.
It was two fans in Italy.
Ah, yes.
Great big collectors who actually put together this book with the help from Sanctuary, actually. They got the thumbs up from Rod, but sadly it didn't continue.
Yeah.
And maybe it became a money thing.
Yeah, and I think if I'm not mistaken, those same guys did also sort of smaller pamphlet type books about Italian vinyl specifically, didn't they?
Yeah, and bootlegs.
That's right. I've got the Italian versions. I don't actually have the Iron Maiden companion, so I might have to keep my eyes out for that one.
Also, I mean, through experience as well. I'm not sort of name dropping, but Alex Fontanini.
Yeah.
Is that guy is incredible. My gold disc that I got from Steve a couple of years ago, and I wondered if it was a proper gold disc. So I put a post up on Facebook, and Alex Fontanini was the only person that actually responded, and he said, "Well, he said there'll be a number scratched on that. Give me the number." So he came back to me about 2 hours later and said the album that I've got is actually it's a Portuguese copy of an album by Elvis Costello.
You were wondering if the gold disc itself inside the frame was an I Maiden disc. Yeah.
It's Elvis Costello, Portuguese copy. Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, look, I think.
So basically, it's not worth as much as I thought it was. I was going to sell it.
Well, but you could have sold it. You could have sold it, and some unsuspecting buyer would have probably paid thousands for it. So I think
all my awards, I would say it's only the newer stuff because they use the logo on the LP itself, like the CDs, CD awards. They are the real Iron Maiden CDs, but all the gold stuff from back then. It was just the record company. They sent like an order to the guy who makes the awards and say, "Hey, I need it with this inscription and this artwork." But they didn't use the Iron Maiden LPs to spray gold on them and put them up there.
Oh, really? So even those original sort of genuine ones aren't actually an Iron Maiden disc. It's just.
Okay.
Is anything pressed on it? Is it?
To just get the.
Because I mean, it's got grooves. It's obviously got grooves and etched in.
I mean, it is a record, but it's just something they've okay, we'll use that one.
It's just because they mass produced them. I think it's more easy than.
In fact, to be perfectly honest, I don't even know if Elvis Costello was an EMI. I don't know if that was his label or anything. So they've just got this random album from somewhere and just sprayed it and given it to me. I just found that really fascinating.
But I hear it all the time. People ask me, can you play the awards? I'm like, I'm not gonna open up an award to play it. It's just for display.
Yeah.
As
It probably
are
sound horrible.
yeah, as are the picture discs. I mean, I mean, yeah, sure. Back in when I was a kid, back in the day, I did used to play them, but you know, then you learn very quickly. No, no, not at all. You learn very quickly that the sound quality on the picture disc is inferior to you know
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
actual
The black heavy vinyl, yeah.
yeah. So you really the picture discs are really for display purposes
But
predominantly.
it
Or
was also the same with just like the coloured plastic discs.
you
So
mean the
like your
coloured
pink
vinyl? You mean the coloured
like your
vinyl?
pink vinyl, the green vinyl. They were the same.
Well, they're all
It's
the
terrible.
rage now. They're all the rage now. The coloured vinyl.
Just just collectors though, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Maiden aren't really releasing them, but a lot of bands are now releasing coloured vinyl, and you know, collectors just open their wallets very quickly and empty their bank accounts very, very quickly because it's like, well, I've got to have the yellow one, I've got to have the blue one, I've got to have the red one with a black swirl, I've got to have the marble one with it's just never ending. So thank you, Iron Maiden, for not hey.
Or one with a wasp.
Yeah, one with a wasp. Yeah, well,
I saw it the other day on eBay. Somebody is bootlegging the sound tapes in every single color there is. So now you can buy like 50 different colored the sound tape singles. It's
yeah, I saw that. I just as unbelievable. Do you want to show us or talk about any of the awards that you've got, mate?
sure. Where should we start? I don't know.
The most exciting one, the most striking one.
The most striking one is this one I just got the other day. Well, it's not really a power slave one because it's from Life After Death.
Ah, yes, yes.
Given to Steve Harris.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Yeah,
So,
post that. That's brilliant.
What's the date? What's the date on that?
What's the date?
Yeah.
It doesn't have a date. It just said presented to Steve Harris for more than 25,000 sales of the Life After Death. Yeah, video. So the gold video cassette. It's fun because the video awards are crazy rare. You don't see them a lot.
Wow.
Actually, you never see them. So it's pretty. I was pretty lucky to get this one for sure. The most common one is actually the UK. Let's take this one. The UK one you always recognize with the small UK flag or flag or corner, and it's more plain compared to the US one. Of course, it has the EMI logo, and this one is given to some drummer in some English band.
Really? Oh. Oh, that guy.
Some drummer.
That guy.
I have a US one up here. This is a newer one because this is for the re-release when they did the new one. You can see that on the logo on the
yes.
on the CD. But this one is given to some singer in some UK band.
Bruce Dickinson. Never heard of him. Have you heard of him, Loopy?
Vaguely.
Vaguely. I think he flies planes, doesn't he?
More like a US one, but I have a fun one. This is a real one. Because this one is actually given to a fan.
Wow. Oh,
so
wow.
a band who signed the artwork, and then this is given to some fan who won a competition at some radio station.
December 3rd, 1984. Incredible. Yeah, so that was when that was the The Canadian tour in early '84 when that was straight after the European tour. They started in Canada. Wow.
So it doesn't have to be an award given to a band members. It can be an award given to a radio station or a good friend like Luby, or there's a lot of different ones out there. And of course, the closer you get to the band, the more expensive they get.
Of course.
Sometimes you can get presentation awards, like, something like this. It's not given to anybody, just state that it's Iron Maiden who have sold platinum, and you can get them really, really cheap on eBay. There's hundreds of them. So it's just a presentation disc, and it's cool for display. And if you don't want to use a lot of money, you can buy something like that to start off with, and then start to see if you can find the really, really expensive stuff within.
Well, without being sort of too personal, where did you get the stuff?
It's just
where did you get the stuff from, like the one from Bruce and the one from Nico? How did you come across those?
Well, it's all about context in the end. Who do you know? Actually, the Bruce one came from one of my good friends who stopped collecting gold tin, and she asked me, "Hey, you want to buy some of my stuff because I'm not collecting Iron Maiden anymore?" And I got some stuff from her. I also got Dave. Where's that? Oh, it's up here. I have the Dave Murray. This is given to Dave, and he actually turned this over to his sister.
Wow.
And she sold it also to Tina, and Tina then sold it to me. So yeah, sometimes you just get lucky.
Yeah, you do. Look, with collecting, I mean, once you become seasoned at it, you do develop a network, and it's
again, you have to be on the lookout. Some people know there's enough money in awards, so they will try to bootleg them. So always try to get the history of the award.
Yeah.
See how long you can track it back to a contact who is close to the band. Because at some point it came out from there when it's award given to band members. They will put some out on the market for charity or something like that. So of course there are some awards out there, but also a lot of band members keep their awards. Like Nico has a lot of stuff in his restaurant. I know Steve Harris, he keeps almost all his awards. Bruce is maybe not that keen on awards, so there's a lot of Bruce Dickinson stuff out there.
Yeah, no, we do. We should emphasise this stuff doesn't just come to you. And as with everything with collecting, and in particular, the bigger your collection grows, the more you have, the harder you have to actually work, and the more legwork you have to actually do to get the really high-end items. So it doesn't automatically come to you. I mean, you've got to have a good network, and that network needs to be global. Absolutely, it needs to be worldwide. You need to have.
Don't be afraid to reach out to.
That's right.
To the old collectors to ask. There's no stupid question. There's only stupid answers.
That's right.
Yeah, you can always ask and say, "Is this legit?" And we will do whatever we can to help out and
that's
tell
right.
people, oh, they are fake signatures or
yeah. Oh yeah, the old signature controversy. Hey, there's so many signatures on eBay. It's ridiculous. It's just insane. I think we spoke about this last time you were live with us in episode 3. It definitely needs caution. Look, let's talk about. You've got one of my favourite posters on to your left. The Power Slave is coming. Let's talk about that because effectively that's where it all starts, right? That's where this whole Power Slave journey started, and that's the very first promo poster that was released.
promo sticker.
Yes, yes. That is one of the toughest, most elusive posters to find. It's been
with the sticker, because I have actually seen the Power Slavers coming without the sticker.
well, yes, that's true. But to get it with that hype sticker is again, as we say here in Australia, it's rare as hen's teeth.
Yeah.
And that poster in the last over the last year and a half has been bootlegged. It has been copied, and it's unfortunate. I mean, look, it's good for people to have it. It's good for people to display it. Unfortunately, it doesn't stop other people from.
I'm just saying, it's easy to see if you have a bootleg because it will be plain white on the backside. Where the original they have a more gray look on the back.
Oh yes,
okay. You see it's old paper it's printed on.
Yeah, so, Rasmus, is it like a matte paper? Is it like a cardboard stock type matte paper? Or is it glossy?
It's not paper thin. It's as you say. It's more like it's not cardboard thick.
Yeah.
It's like paper, but it has more like structure.
Yes, yes, yeah. That's right. I'd be suspicious if there was, glossy, perfectly faultless mint. A lot of those promo, both album and event promo posters, were made of that thicker matte cardstock paper, and not all of them are in good condition. In fact, I'm almost happy when I get a poster from that era and it's not in the best condition, because, well, I mean, it's in.
You see, it's had a bit of a life.
Well, it's in reasonable condition. I mean, you don't want to have junk either, but it kind of validates that, the time, the effects of time on it.
It's one thing with where I think when you collect posters, you go for the mint posters.
Yes,
I don't collect posters that much, but I actually like the rock posters.
Yeah.
I actually like posters that some fan ripped off on the street.
Yeah.
Because for me, it gets more of a historical thing.
Exactly.
People go, what is that crap? It looks like crap. I'm like, yeah, but it's some fan wanted that piece so much that he was ready to stand out of the street to pull down a poster to get it home. And I feel like that when I was a kid or now.
Well, we're all 47, 48-year-old kids, aren't we, at the moment? So,
you speak for yourself.
Look, with posters, I mean, look, I was lucky recently to find a few warehouse finds, because out of the United States, sort of over the last couple of years, there's been a few warehouse finds where the poster has been sealed, rolled up, and basically for 30 plus years. They're great. They're wonderful because you've got a faultless, pristine poster, and it's genuine because once you open this thing, other than the little pop that comes out of it, these posters are so tight. They're just really tight to unfold and sort of unroll, which is great. But as Rasmus is saying, when you get a poster that has the tack marks and the frayed edges and a little bit of a small tear here and there, that poster has a story. That poster has a life, and
of course,
the only thing I don't like, Rasmus, is when especially in Italy, I've noticed there's a habit of folding posters. They love to fold. I don't understand why they love to fold posters over there.
Even Maiden did that when they folded posters up and put them inside the record sleeve. And it's like it's a cool poster still, but you look at it and nobody likes a poster.
Look, I would argue that that's a little bit different because that's a folded poster that's designed to be folded and to come with a packaging. when you've got a beautiful event poster or promo poster, which was, you know, sort of rolled out originally, and then when they send it to you, they decide to fold it, or even 30, 35 years ago, they just decided it was a good idea to fold it, especially over time, over a 3-decade period. Those folds tend to cause a bit of a fracturing of the paper, and you know, when you frame it, then you really need to sort of glue it down, or even, you know, give it to a paper restorer at times, if there's any other things on it, especially if there's, you know, adhesives from some people used to put backstage passes on them.
Think about that when you toured with the band. Even back then, there was a lot of collectors, right, who tried to get stuff from you guys as a road crew.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to be sort of behind the scenes enough to not even be pestered by it. You know, obviously, like, you've got the main crew, like people like Billy Barkley, who were sort of wandering backwards and forwards across the stage, and I'm sure there were punters at the front going, "Oh, can I have that? Can I have that?" But because I was back in the dressing room, I missed all that, so you know, I was kind of out of it, if you like.
Well, I guess I mean, we've all, Iron Maiden fans have always collected. There's no question about it. But I think there was a really significant uptick or spike in the collecting frenzy, I'd say, when this current lineup got together in 99, 2000. And that's when the market, the prices of some of these items just went through the roof. I mean, as we were discussing in the last episode, shirts, tour shirts, which were, you know, $100 or $150, all of a sudden were $400 and $600, and now some of these shirts are worth in their thousands, literally. So it's really, I find it really interesting to see how the demographic and habits of Iron Maiden collectors have just changed. And also too, there's a lot more to collect, because I mean, when we were kids, Rasmus, it really was t-shirts, posters, scarves, badges, postcards, and tour programs, and that's about it. Now there's this huge diversification of stuff on the market. I mean, you know, games and puzzles and toys and figurines, and just beer. Of course, the Trooper beer craze is off the charts, really.
There's nothing better for me to go on Facebook or someplace else to see Iron Maiden collectors complain about what Iron Maiden are bringing out and say, "Oh, they're becoming Kiss and blah blah blah." Or like, well, they don't force you to buy anything.
No, they certainly don't.
You decide if you want to buy something, right?
Yeah.
And just the other day, Iron Maiden announced they're going to put out this new picture disc.
I saw that. The first album, the first album is going to be.
And the first thing was people start complaining. What? After 40 years, we only get a fucking picture disc. And I was like, well, at least you get something. And you don't have to buy it if you don't want to, but you get something, right?
Look, I do agree with you.
It's not like there's nothing else to buy.
Yeah.
Well, there's something for everybody.
Yeah.
If you want beer, you can buy beer. You can buy Iron Maiden wine. You can get T-shirts. Actually, you can get everything in the clothing area. Sports gear.
Yeah.
The other day I saw like this karate gi. You can buy that too. They have everything.
Yeah.
It's only you who decide if you want to use your money on it.
Look,
right?
I do. Whilst I agree with you, definitely. I mean, what you're saying makes perfect sense. I think what a lot of people are complaining about with respect to the music releases is that how many times are you going to re-release the same music all over? I think what people probably want is a more enhanced celebration of the 40th anniversary album, for example, and you know, put some demos in, put some interviews in, put a live show in, make it like what Metallica do. I think Metallica do an incredible job with their deluxe releases.
Well, Metallica Monday on Facebook. I mean, I've watched it the last about a month now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. I don't mind buying the music again. It's just when there's little incentive to do so, I find it hard to sort of again open my wallet. For example, I mean, it's the 35th anniversary. No, 30. Sorry, it's the 40th anniversary of the first album. Again, it would have been really good to have a really good package of stuff, with say, the poster, maybe an unreleased show, that kind of stuff. I think that's probably what people are complaining about.
I find it interesting that I mean, yes, it is the 40th anniversary of the first album. I just find it interesting that like the management and the band have not celebrated the 40th anniversary.
No,
I just find it bizarre. But then, all right, it's the anniversary of the first album. Two of those members, or three of those members, are no longer there.
Mm.
Where's it going to start?
It's also
wait until like the anniversary of 40th anniversary of Number of the Beast.
Well, I mean, it's all
because most of the members were there.
It's also look. A lot of punters have just spent money buying the remasters. The ones that they just sort of released last year, and
for the box.
That's right. And now it's here, buy this.
One of those idiots.
What you bought No. But these are actually.
I like the box. That was it.
Which one did you buy?
I've got both of the collections. Because I think you've got the first few albums in one box, and you got the rest in the bigger box.
Well, look, I was happy to buy those. Because the sound was a vast improvement on the 1998 re-releases. Because they were just very tinny and not very good. These were good, but
my collection are in the box. They're all sealed. I've not even opened them.
Do you own a record player, Louis?
I've got two.
Okay.
You know what, Loopy? We need
one here in the office. Yeah. Mickey Wawa.
You know what, Loopy? I'm going to go on a one-man campaign to ask the band to release next year, 40th anniversary of Killers, a deluxe edition, and find that show at, where was it, Norwich University, where Clive's bass drum just...
You bastard.
and hopefully there's video footage of you trying to fix it.
There's always something out there somewhere.
Well, we've asked people. They don't have it, but I'm sure somebody will have it.
I'll have to have a chat with Carl, see what he's got.
Yeah, we'll have a chat to him. All right. Now, anything else we want to say about the posters? I think, Rasmus, what are the key, in your opinion, what are the must-have, top 3 must-have World Slavery posters in anyone's collection? The key must-have posters.
Well,
I think one's sitting right there, by the way.
For me, I would say, it's a great different promo poster because it doesn't have Eddie. It don't even have Iron Maiden logo or Iron Maiden letters. If you didn't know Iron Maiden, you had no idea what this is.
That's right.
It's a yellow poster with a dog on it, and it says something weird, and you have some hieroglyphs. So that makes it even more rare as an Iron Maiden poster. But I would say the most cool poster for people when they collect Power Slave is if they can get a gig poster from their own country.
Yes.
And of course, if they are old enough to get that gig poster they went to on tour. Because they're pretty rare, as you say. The tour posters from the Power Slave era is really, really, really rare. It's only a couple of years ago I got mine from Denmark. So here, you have a pink Iron Maiden logo up here.
Oh wow, that's the Danish one, yeah.
The date, it's the 1st of November, and they played some place called Brøndby Hallen. So yeah, they have Motley Crue as a warm-up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
So that's pretty rare.
I would agree. So I would say the one Power Slave is Coming is definitely in the top three. The other one that I really liked was the which is just impossible to find in any condition, is the Radio City, New York City poster. I mean, I've seen an image of it, but I haven't actually held one. I haven't actually seen one. And
yeah. One that you get if you buy the Spanish edition, the first press Spanish edition of
wow.
House, that you get a poster inside. It's a pretty cool
wow.
thing to get.
Wow, absolutely. That is incredible. And one of the other ones, and I do agree with you. The poster from the country that your gig, the gig that you went to, from your country, is always a bit special. Now you've got the Iron Curtain, the Poland '84.
It came in the Kerrang magazine. It also has a cool the Rick's Eddie artwork. So for the collectors, that's pretty easy to find. You just find the Kerrang magazine on eBay with this front cover.
Yeah. To my surprise, that Kerrang magazine is actually not that difficult to find.
No.
I would have thought it would have been impossible to find, but it's actually, if you look, it actually comes up regularly.
Maybe they produced that many, but all people used all their money back then going to Maiden gigs, so they didn't buy the magazine.
And also too, we should also add, there's for anybody who's starting to want to collect from that era, there's about 4 variations of the tour book. So there's the first British press. There's the very first one with all photos from the Peace of Mind era. In fact, you've got them all there. And Loopy's actually got a photo in there. He's actually in one of those. Did you know that?
What was I doing?
It's the 1983 Dortmund football squad photo. Where you guys beat the Def Leppard 11.
Yeah.
I'm looking for him. Where is he?
It's in the very first tour book, the very first one. So the one with just Peace of Mind era pictures in it.
I'm the only one standing in the group photo wearing a black sweatshirt.
I've got it here. I've got it here if you want me to grab it. But
okay.
So
it was cold. In fact, it was colder there than it was here.
It would have been the very, very first tour book, and it's only got pictures from the World Peace era, little live pictures from World Peace tour.
I don't have that one.
And the actual most difficult tour book to find is actually the Australian tour book. That's a tough one. Yeah, that's a tough one to find. So for the collectors, if you can grab that one, grab it.
Rasmus, I have that one.
Let's look at the front page. And it actually here has the Australian dates.
Yes, yeah. So that's
so it's not just going on eBay because they only show the front picture. I have a Bootleg tour book. You have to ask the seller to take a picture of the dates.
That's right.
And then you will find there's like 3 of the normal version. There's the big square one.
Oh, the Japanese one. Yeah.
And the cool South America edition.
Wow. That's really tough to get. Yeah, the Japanese had their own tour books, obviously, and characteristically, it was a square shaped, and that was also usually a sort of thicker paper as well, and the
they did the same for the World Peace Tour.
Yeah,
I had one.
Yeah, and the photos were often different, completely different to what the US European ones were. But just for everyone to know, Loopy is pictured in the very first World Slavery Tourbook. As a,
I know my name's on the album. I didn't know it was in the tourbook as well.
I'll take a photo and put it. I'll edit it in when we release the show.
More to collect.
It never ends. It never ends. Masks. Now, tell us about the masks, mate.
It's a fun thing because, of course, you know, I Maiden used masks from the very early days. And in '83, they actually had a plastic mask you could buy in the fan club. Really, really rare today to get that one. Then in, I don't know, recent times, actually, they first started producing masks that you could buy. I don't know why they didn't do it before, because fans were craving for 80 masks. Everybody wanted them, but there was no one to have. So you had to go out and have them custom made. But they got hold of NECA. I think this was the first power slave mask they put out there from NECA, the company NECA. Later, they made this deal with Trick and Treat Studios. They made this one. But they also made the mummy one.
Ah, yes.
And I was actually lucky. One time I went to the webpage. I had all the masks. I was just going to see if they had something new, because they keep producing different type of baby masks. And then this one turned up.
Oh, wow. Wow.
This is actually a prototype. And they actually sold that on the webpage. Only for $10 more than the original mask.
Wow.
So sometimes you just strike up. And it's written inside here. This is the Power Slave prototype Iron Maiden number 3 out of 4 made. There's 4 prototype masks out there.
Wow. And you've got one of them. Incredible.
But as I said, back then, before that, you couldn't get a cool power mask. So I actually had some made. I found this guy who does great stuff, and he actually produced these for me.
Wow. They actually look better than the other ones that are mass produced.
Yeah. He's really doing some great stuff. I'm gonna show you this one. He made this one.
Oh, the Book of Souls, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so cool.
That's very, very good.
It's really nice made. So if you don't just want the stuff everybody else is buying, go to your local FX guy and make him do a cool Eddie mask.
I agree.
There's so many to choose from, right?
Rasmus, do you have any of the 84, 85 scarves, the tour scarves that were sold on the tour?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how many? Now I understand there were 2 variations. One was the red, yellow, and hang on, red, yellow. Yeah, red and yellow one, and then there was the blue and yellow, which is incredibly tough to find. Are you aware of any other variations?
I think also there's a black and gold one.
That's from Europe. Is that the one you're referring to? Well, it's got Motley. It's got. Huh?
I'm from Europe. Which one do you?
Well, it's got Iron Maiden on one side and Motley Crue on the other, and it's got European Tour 84. I've got it here. Let me grab it. Hang on.
We'll just talk amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
So how many actual masks have you got there?
How many?
How many, yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 here, and I have 3 or 4 in the basement. Also some for me.
Okay, so I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is this was from Sweden. So it's got basically European Tour. It's got Tour 1984, Power Slave. Okay, and then when you flip it around, it's got Motley Crue. And if we follow that around, it's got a European Tour. I don't know if you can see that. It's got European Tour 84.
Yeah.
So my question...
That one is... I'm not sure that's original Iron Maiden scarf.
It's not official. No, this is not official. No, the
round thing on the front.
Yeah.
Saying 84. They actually have an 88 scarf.
Correct.
That's the same Sam just saying 88.
Correct. Yeah. So my understanding is these were unofficial. They were bootleg scarves. They were sold outside the venues at that time. Similar to what we get now. We've got, and Loopy, you remember in New York there were just people selling unofficial bootleg shirts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But
so
again, that goes back to what I said before. I've always found that the unofficial stuff is a little bit more adventurous than Maiden stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of time.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, so this one was sold outside the venue in 1984, and in Europe the unofficial scarves were satin, and they did have that circle with Tour 84, Tour 88, or whatever number you want. But the official ones, which were sold inside the venue, were knitted, and there were the two versions. So there's the red, yellow, blue, and then there was just the yellow and blue.
The bootleg.
Yes,
That's the same round one, just saying 88.
I have that. Yes, I have that as well.
But this one.
That's the one. Yes, that's one of the hardest. That is one of the toughest scarves to find. So
well, I have seen a black edition of this one.
Whoa,
this is blue
black.
and yellow. But I have a friend in Sweden. He has a black with yellow around it.
I did not know the black and yellow existed. Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So there was certainly in Europe. Then there was 3 official knitted scarves. Then that was sold. Yeah. I mean, look, people are probably sort of watching this thinking, "Oh my God, look at these guys! They're just talking about variations in scarves." That's what makes collecting fun. That's why we love what we do, because, you know, we're geeks. We're just geeky collectors. We love it. You know, it's
you guys speak for yourselves. I'm just a bystander.
But you're not an innocent bystander, are you?
We don't want to get pulled down with us.
Let's not go there, Kev.
Huh?
You know about this one?
Which one's that, mate?
This is a German promo gravestone. It's a pen holder.
Ah, yes. I've seen that.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
And it goes for crazy money on eBay. I actually think there's one on German eBay for 1,000 euros.
Yeah, there was one I think a couple of years ago on eBay, and it went for ridiculous prices. I mean, it's just.
It's fun when you find these weird bits and pieces, like we talk about the gaffer tour tape.
Bring the gaffer tape close to the screen and tell us about the gaffer tape.
It's a roll of gaffer tape from the Bootleg era. I know a few collectors actually have a roll still of these. So it's not crazy rare, but it's still rare. You don't see it that much.
Loopy, back in the day, if you would have had access to that gaffer tape, who would you have gagged?
Oh, I think I better not answer that.
Oh, brilliant. And
I think that's actually like parcel tape was probably used in the office more than it would have been on stage.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind getting one of those for myself.
I mean, it's somebody like Steve Lazarus at the fan club. He would have probably used that to to wrap up puzzle, or Keith, maybe Keith Wilfork back then.
Mm.
Yeah, we should ask Keith if he had his hand on that tape. He would remember, I'm sure. I will ask him.
Yeah, do it.
Some lights on it, where it's from.
I think we've covered it.
Let us know, Baz.
I think we've
talked
covered
about the vinyls and the cassette tapes. We forgot to talk about the long boxes.
Oh.
Because again, if you want to collect the vinyls or tapes or even the CDs, when you come to the CDs, the long boxes from the US, they are really rare, but really fun because it's such a different release.
Yeah, it is.
Because you don't just get the CD, you get a big cool box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. They're brilliant.
This long cool thing.
They're very hard to find as well. I mean, I've not seen one of those in a long time. Even on Discogs, I haven't seen one. So,
so what's actually inside that, Raz? Is it like a CD and a little booklet or something?
You just get the CD inside this cardboard box. There's nothing else in it. There's no special thing. It's just the CD, the normal US CD. It's just put in a big box so it was better displayed in the record shops when it was standing in the rack.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Wow.
And that's an '84 Capitol Records release, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never seen those.
They actually put the Capitol logo really nicely inside the head.
Yeah.
Wow, that now that's collectible. That's very just for little variations like that. I mean, that's just makes it very collectible.
Never seen it before.
I do. I've got a Queensryche long box, but I mean that actually had the cassette and the CD in it, whereas that one's just had the CD, didn't it?
I think they made them up till the end of Fear of the Dark. You have Fear of the Dark long box, but after that, I've never seen them.
Wow. So that's pretty much. I mean, that's pretty much it from that era, isn't it? I mean, it was still a time of the band where the merchandising was very simple. Again, we did an exhaustive analysis of the tour shirts at the last episode, and we know, sure, there was pins, scarves, posters, and the odd bits and pieces we've spoken about, but really, and of course the vinyl, but the merchandising was just so simple. We've pretty much covered. Would it be fair to say we've covered a lot already?
I think we've just about wrapped up the Power Slave. I don't think there's anything else we can add to that.
No. It's actually, Raz. Let's look. I do agree. So
badges or patches, tour patches.
Oh, of course.
It was very nice to put out some great tour patches.
Of course.
On the World Slavery Tour.
Of course, and those patches are going for big money these days, especially the sarcophagus Eddie, especially the well, from the back cover there. I mean, I've seen that go for hundreds. Some people say, I can't believe people pay that much for a patch, but they do. It's
what collectors do.
Yeah, well, I mean, I had my jacket back in the day. So 85, 86. I had my little battle jacket, and I had the pyramid, and I had Aces High back patch on the back, and yeah, to think that 35 years later, those patches are, people pay big money for them. It's
because all of a sudden, like, as you said, the battle jackets are coming back. You've got the younger generation coming, and they want to look like
what we did.
Yeah, but you guys, what you guys did back in the 80s, it's becoming popular again. So yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
But then to pay that kind of money and then stitch it onto a denim jacket, I mean, really? I'll put it in a safe.
Well, patches you can display as well. I mean, I've seen people frame their patches, So
I actually like the way you display your patches on your vest when you go to a gig. You can actually wear your collection. I like that.
Yeah.
You can see where people have been. But like Louis says today, a lot of kids, they get their father's old T-shirts, and you can see this 17-year-old kid walking around in an Iron Maiden shirt from the 80s, and you go like,
yeah,
really?
Yeah, really.
That's your dad's shirt, and yeah, I'm from that. That's cool. I mean,
I just wish I could fit into my old vintage shirts. I just can't fit into any of them. It's
that's
just
why I'm putting together the Iron Maiden workout for all the fat Iron Maiden kids, so they can fit the shirts again.
now look, Raz, you are a very fit, well chiseled gentleman. How do you fit into that shirt? How on earth do you fit into a 35-year-old shirt like that? And you're
don't eat.
huh? You just don't eat.
I just don't eat anymore.
But you're tall as well. I mean, how do you fit to that?
He's on a grape and chicken diet, and that's it.
It's not easy for me because I don't spend money on food, only on Iron Maiden items. So.
I recently tried to wear an extra large Seventh Son shirt from 1988, 88, 89. And this is extra large, right, in 88. And I had to suck, I was like sucking my breath in, and it's just impossible because the sizes were very different. So, an extra large was like a large, a medium was like a today's small. So it's quite challenging fitting into some of those.
I think that's just because generally people have got bigger.
Yeah.
Yes, and I do weigh a lot more than I did in 1988. That's for sure. So,
yeah.
Truth be told,
that's also to look at if you collect shirts. I'm sure Matt mentioned it yesterday that if you see a shirt from the 80s who is XXXL,
yes,
it's probably like
yes.
make shirts like them.
No, great point. I think you know what, Raz. I think I'm going to start doing your Iron Maiden workout, so I can fit into those shirts again, or some of them anyway. The extra large ones from '89 maybe, but
I'm still waiting for the DVD.
What, Raz's DVD workout?
Yeah, Raz's DVD workout.
Well, like in the '80s when
I can only do it if I pay a certain amount of money to Rasmus, that's for sure.
Well, like those workouts in the '80s when Jane Fonda used to do those.
Yeah, all that, yeah.
And Richard Simmons or whatever sort of thing.
But I want the Iron Maiden background music, and that will cost them.
Somehow, though, I think Rasmus's workout video would be much more punishing than Richard Simmons was back in '82 or something like that.
Significant. Last time I actually tried one of those workouts, I did them backwards. So I don't do them anymore.
Oh God! Look, I think we've covered really everything from that era, and that's the beauty about talking about collecting from that era, because there's a finite amount of stuff. It's not a lot, but what there is, yes, sir. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, again, let's do a shout out for Luby's book.
Absolutely.
Yes, yeah. This time I want to get the website right, because when I read the book Thunderthuck the other day and gave the complete wrong website address. So this time, if you want any of my books, please go to loopyworld.uk.
Yep.
And that's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
And we can do a shout out for Stefan too. He made also a cool book with lots of stories from the Powerslave era. If you want to dig deeper down that era, that's a fun book too.
Yeah. Look, and that is a labour of love. I mean, that's somebody who's given up their time, out of pure zeal and love for the band, to write a book. I mean, that's not an easy thing to do. So, credit where credit's.
Stipe is very, very ambitious. I mean, he aims to write 100 Maiden books, and good luck to him. But if you want any of his books, go to maidencroatia.com.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it was Raz. It was fantastic having you, mate. So actually, because the last couple of times we've had to edit you in with a video because you'd been away on a work assignment or you'd been on vacation. Whereas it was great to actually have you face to face.
Do the live chat.
It's so much better, and I think when we do,
and
when we do cover the other eras, which we inevitably will, we'd just love to have you on face to face. You know,
always happy to help out.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're going to cover all of them, especially, I mean, the Seventh Son, which was, you know, your first time seeing the band. I mean, we would love to have you sort of here again, and we will. As I said, you're a friend of the show, you're a part of the show, so that'd be good. All right. Thanks again, mate. We'll catch up with you soon.
We'll see you soon, mate.
Yep.
Done. See you, everybody. Take care.
Bye-bye all.